This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, and if it's Tuesday, we are live as usual. And the fun thing about this show is this one's been set up for about 3.5 months, and we are on show 127 live shows in a row, season 5, episode 1. And we just keep going and going and going. So we're live on Talk for TV, Talk for Media, K4 HD radio, and streaming on over 100 outlets around the world. Now, Terry will be joining us pretty soon. I don't know what Kyle is doing, but Kyle Rising is there, so that's a great thing. And you know, I'm happy for a newfound friend, Franklin, because if I hadn't been in Chicago for the King of Kings premiere, I would have never met his godfather, leading off to all the things that we're doing. And I didn't plan on this being a drum corps show or a band show, but I actually did, because it's about drummers, and us drummers, we bang harder. Even the ones who aren't drummers, who became and started teaching drum lines and coming up with the RamPad, who are horn players and marching instructors. And that's the fun thing about that. So I got to start off with this. When it comes to Kyle, you know, playing jazz, urban dance with Liquid Soul, and playing with Chaka Khan, and, you know, who else? Stevie Wonder, Stanley Clarke, and, you know, 15 years with Lenny Kravitz, his drummer, and now he's got his solo album coming out, but he's also got Robby Krieger and the Soul Savages, and he's co-writing music with him, which I listened to, which was fascinating, which I liked. And so the one and only Franklin Vanderbilt is going to talk about that, but he's more than that too, because I didn't know he could play guitar. Who knew? So it was fascinating with the stuff that this guy can do. And it's kind of the same thing with Ish. You know, this guy, he marched with Anaheim Kingsmen, Sacramento Freelancers, a Blue Devil alumni, which is what he's wearing. He got his jacket back, but he also taught a drum line, and you know he loves working with kids. So I found that fascinating, and it was interesting because he was with me when I met Robin Orr. Robin Orr, who I didn't know is marched with Bayonne Bridgman in '80 and '81. I had no idea, but when we met him at the June show, he had the RamPads there. So the RamPad is a drum pad that he'd helped tinker around with. So he's a former, you know, instrument music teacher, marching instructor, engineer, and I like what he came up with. So he's going to talk about the iPad, his RamPad for us drummers who bang harder. And then Kyle Rising. And the reason why I wanted to have Kyle on, because Franklin was nice to this young kid. And so, so now I think he remembers him. He can't really see him, but he kind of remembers him now. So yes, Jim Morrison. So Kyle Rising, we had to have him on.
What's happening?
How are you, man? Yeah, we met at the Robby Krieger show in Ventura.
Yeah, correct. You guys opened for us. It's a pleasure to see you again. How are you, sir?
Well, you know, I've had better days. I was telling Ryan the reason I'm in the car right now is because I had to go over to get my my vehicle out of the impound lot. They decided to tow me off the street today, so I was dealing with that right before we had this meeting. So sorry about the horrible lighting and me being in the car, but anyways, yeah, I'm happy to be here with you guys. It's good to see you, and yeah, doing the best I can right now.
Sorry to hear that. Hope you get your car back soon, but good to see you.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, I remember him. Good to see you again. Yeah,
Franklin, we get to start with you because this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have Kyle on, because you like giving back to a lot of people. You've done a lot of stuff as that drummer who's doing things. Talk about how you started and where you are today and getting into that song. And then we're going to go into Is after that. Go ahead, Frank.
Okay, well, born in Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. I come from a very musical family. My father, he used to play the saxophone. He doesn't play much anymore, but he played the saxophone. My mom sings, my sister sings, my grandparents sing, and my sisters have talent as well. And I grew up with lots of cousins and uncles and aunts that had musical talent. So it was surrounded, it surrounded me on a regular basis. I couldn't help it. So I started playing drums when I was 5 years old. I started in church. I stopped playing drums in church around 14 because my ears started to gravitate towards rock, jazz, 60s, 70s soul, everything. So I started to dive into that on a regular basis. By the time I was 15 in high school, I turned into a professional. My band director started sending me out to play with different jazz musicians. So I was good enough to play with the big guys at the time. And obviously I was still learning, but I just felt confident that I could do it. And like, it just kind of snowballed from there. And like my teenage years, I worked with jazz musicians like Clark Terry and, Ray Brown and Ramsey Lewis. And it just took off from there,
Hey, you mentioned Clark Terry. Quincy Jones just passed away not too long ago, and it was a Keep On Keeping On documentary that when I last met Q and Justin Kaufman.
I knew him.
Well, the thing about that is that's a great thing about movies when it comes to things like that and circling everything around. And I really love that. So, hey, we're going to come back to you. Hey, Robin, you're spinning around a little bit. Let's get you in here before you disappear. Robin, talk about how you came about creating things.
Kind of working. I am everything that it sounds like robots from what I'm hearing here. So I can see everybody just fine. And I'm hoping you guys can hear me too. I'm on my way back from PASIC. And I think everybody knows what PASIC is, right? Progressive Arts Society International Conference. And it's a road trip. So I was pulling all my equipment, Istanbul cymbals and Koyaisa cymbals and some other stuff, because we were from Southern California and almost nobody goes further than us. And give me a thumbs up if you're hearing me okay.
Yes,
we hear you good.
Okay, well I'll talk even though I'm not hearing you guys so great. Because this last summer I had these adventures where I bought a new truck or a newer truck and an RV and a utility trailer. So getting out to PASIC this year, I kind of volunteered to help some of the other companies from Southern California. It's 2,000 miles each direction. So I figured since I'm driving, I might as well drive some other people. And I called up all the people in Southern California and said, hey, if you're, if you want to save some money, I'm driving out there. We can all kind of team up together. Of course, I'm the only one doing the driving, but it's we're all saving a ton of money. On the way back from Indiana, I've only made it to Albuquerque, and I still got 2 more days before I get home. But knowing that this was coming up on Tuesday, Albuquerque is a good spot where I can park for like an hour in a hotel before I get there. And little did I know that Albuquerque's traffic's kind of bad. So if you're ever coming through Albuquerque, be alerted. The 5 o'clock traffic, not so good. And I'm not picking up on everything that you guys are saying. It's just that I'm obviously Ismael. I'm seeing the Blue Devil jacket. That speaks volumes right there. And I'm guessing that all of us have some kind of drum corps background or something related, percussion related into drum corps. And responses here. Thumbs up if you've been to PASIC. Have you guys been to PASIC before?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's
yes.
Like, I'm not going there.
Yes.
And it's held the same weekend as Bands of America, the band competition. Just the best bands in the country are there. So if you're into any of that kind of stuff, it's kind of a cool hangout. Attendance was really good this year, much better than it's been for the last 2 years because of following up after coronavirus. And for me, it's just a great opportunity to kind of hang with friends of mine who are drummers, get caught up, exposure to the product, meet a lot of new people, and get a lot of new ideas. And all the people who would have anything to do with percussion, for the most part, are right there. And so should you or get any new ideas and concepts about stuff that's going on, it's a good hang. So I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
See, and in between him spinning around, because I was just waiting, I knew that was going to happen. Hey, Kyle, let's talk about you. So you didn't tell me that you opened up for Franklin. So that's why I wanted to surprise him. I thought that was really cool. Talk about what that's like, Jim Morrison.
It was a fun time. It was right around the time. So I did.
It's trying. It's trying.
Hey, Robin, if you can hear us, we're going to come back to you. We're going to come back. Hold that thought. And I'm going to go to Kyle. Go ahead, Kyle. Finish up.
So yeah, like I was saying, around the time that we did that show, I did some Doors covers that I put on the internet that went viral, and so somehow, I guess Robby Krieger or somebody through his team found me and put me on that show, and so we were hanging out in the green room and stuff before the show talking, and he knew, so a guy that was like helping manage me was friends with some of the same people that he knew, and they were talking about Sarah Dash and Nona Hendrix and some of those folks that I guess Franklin somehow was connected with, and so I don't know, we all just got along really well, and it was just such a cool time, and yeah, we did the set, had a great time, and it was a really interesting venue because it was like, I think it was used to be something else. They had just redone it or did a bunch of upgrades to it from what I can understand, and so that was a lot of fun, and yeah, it was just a great night.
Yeah, it was.
So Ish, I got to bring you in. So talk about what you're doing, where you are, and I think you're at Starbucks, so you may have background noise just in case.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely at Starbucks, and I got a little bit of some smooth jazz in the background. I'm in Southern California. I wish I went to B of A. I heard Bands of America was awesome. I'm just hanging out here. I was looking forward to the show because I'm actually going to a band show in Palm Springs after we're done here, and spreading out the word about VBC, our Virtual Booster Club, which talk about a little later. But it's a great way to fundraise and get musical instruments in kids' hands and make kids happy, smiling, and it's just a great program through BAC.
Hey, Franklin, talk about. I didn't know you were in a marching band or concert band.
All of the above.
Oh, I didn't know that. Good for you. So that's why I like doing shows, because you never know where people came from. You just see them from today, but it's always good to see where they came from.
Yeah.
What was that experience like when you started marching before you started finding your way? Because we all were kind of doing something when we were little kids, but we didn't really know what we were doing.
Totally. 14, first year of high school. Being in the concert band and the orchestra, I was a music major. Working with, my band directors and working on my skills. In the meantime, I would come to school a bit early, and I saw the Scherge High School ROTC Drum and Bugle Corps. Now, this was ROTC. My first year of high school, I wasn't in ROTC yet. But every time I came to school early, I saw these kids outside, and I saw this one guy yelling and screaming at everybody, and they sounded really damn good. But like, he was really yelling, and he seemed always pissed. But the more he yelled, they would play harder, and the drums would just go and go. And I always wondered, okay, who are these people? And then I inquired about it, and like I said, ROTC. So like a month went by of my first year of high school. I immediately showed up at school at 5:45 a.m. because I wanted to investigate this. I wanted to be a part of this. And so they immediately gave me a drum and they checked me out, and I never left. So although I was involved with band and orchestra, I started marching with the high school drum and bugle corps. And so they let me march, but they was like, you know, you got to wait till next semester to join ROTC. So that's exactly what happened. And I just fell in love with it. And the rest is history.
So we have some cool photos to show you, Robin. We're coming back to you in a minute. But talk about this photo. This was interesting to me.
Really? Why?
I just thought it was just dapper, cool. I'm a kick-ass drummer.
Well, all that shit's true.
All the above.
What do you want to know?
We're going to show a couple photos, and you can talk about what these photos are like. Like this is Shaft to me. This is Samuel Jackson and Shaft to me.
Thank you. Scott Duddleson from Getty Images took that photo, as a matter of fact. And this photo was taken on Alan Parsons's property. He has a 44-acre avocado farm in addition to his home and his beautiful studio. And this was after a mix session. And that particular day, Scott Duddleson came up to take photos of us while we were working. So yeah, that photo was taken at his house.
And we're going to go back and talk about that. Let's look at one more photo. So I like this one. Where was this one taken?
That's a recent photo, as a matter of fact. That was taken at the Baked Potato last month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was a great show. We had 2 nights there. We had a Saturday and Sunday residency last month at the Baked Potato, and every set was sold out. I had fun. It was great. Yeah.
The Baked Potato is known for having great musicians.
Yep.
See, Rob Carson was supposed to be here from the Crossmen. He had some health issues, so I wanted to show this anyhow, the 50th anniversary of the Crossmen, because he's a drummer, but also he's doing jazz and things like too. So we're going to schedule him for a later date. Hey, Robin, do we have you sound back? Can you hear us a little bit?
Okay.
Robin, can you hear us? He might not be able to hear us. Hey, Kyle, talk about this. What was it like opening up for Franklin? What was that like for you? He disappeared. See, that's the thing with people in cars. You just never know what's going to happen with stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about 8 to 5. Go ahead.
8 to 5. So this is the new logo. It's 8 to 5. And it's about we have new marching drums. With actual wooden rims, with wooden bearing edge. It's got a great maple shell. You know, it's just a beautiful sounding drum, old school. And it takes away the pingy sound of the new, metallic rim. So innovative drum stuff. And then we got the new marching brass stuff, orange, and the Boston Crusaders used them all this past year. And what I'm doing today, what I'm going to push today, is to talk about VBC. What is VBC? Well, it's BAC. What we do is we have rentals. You know, a lot of people don't realize, when you get started, you need an influence and you need a horn, right? Or a drum. So we have them for rent. And what we're doing, if it's a school district or a high school or elementary school, if they rent an instrument, we match dollar for dollar. And we put it in their account. And at the end of the year, we use that money and we go ahead and buy new instruments for the group. And it helps them build their repertoire. And, that's actually what I'm in charge of nationwide. So anywhere else that people are renting, I just got Louisiana today, 3 schools, 1 director. And I said, you know what? We're going to rent as many as we can. We're known for our big brown bag. It's a cool gig bag. And then we're going to match you dollar for dollar. In a couple months, we're going to send you brand new instruments for your kids to enjoy music, which, drum corps, turn on the radio and you just love music. And that's what it's about. It's about kids coming together, and BAC is just sponsoring dollar for dollar, any rental you want. So that's what we're about. I'm going to get my contact info and, I'm pushing it through the nation and it's a great thing to do.
Nice.
Hey, Robin, did we get you back?
Robin,
I don't know. I'm sure he can hear us. Hey, Robin, can you hear us? He's not sure yet. That's the problem with being in cars. Kyle, let's talk about you. You're also a composer too. Talk about how this started for you.
Well, a lot of my early introductions to music was I had a third grade school teacher that would I had a third grade school teacher that would basically write songs about whatever lessons we were learning in school, and so she'd play her guitar and print out lyric sheets, and the whole class would sing along. And next thing you know, when you're taking the quiz or the test, all you have to do is sing that song again in your head, and you know all the answers. And I saw the power in that. So I told my parents, I was like, I want a guitar, and I want to write songs, and I want to make that impact the same way that teacher did for me. So that's essentially how I got started in music.
And that's a good thing. But where are you now? Because you're an actor and you're modeling too, right?
Yeah. So I got, after the whole virality thing happened with the Doors covers, there was a guy that reached out to me who was a songwriter for Warner Chappell back in the 80s, doing stuff for like hair metal bands and things like that. And he wanted to make a rock and roll film. So he reached out to me and asked me to be in his film. And so that was sort of my introduction to getting into acting, thrown right into the lead role in a movie. And then I started taking classes and things like that, because I was never involved in theater as a kid, but I took an interest in it as of late. And yeah, and then through that, I did some modeling gigs and stuff. I did some things like with Old Navy and just some little jobs here and there. I was fortunate enough to do a commercial with Tracy Ellis Ross back in April, where they hired me as a skateboarder to come in and skate in with an ice cream tray, and Tracy just grabs like a cherry off the top. And it was a fun experience. But yeah, music has brought me a lot of these really wonderful experiences. And yeah, I mean, it all goes back to the beginning.
Good for you. All right, Robin, I'm going to be talking to you via text. Let's see if we got you. He's spinning around. That's why I hate having people in cars. You just never know. You never know. Hey, just talk about how important it is to help kids, followed by, Franklin, because this is important with all the stuff that we're doing. It all goes back to kids. Hold on, Riz. Hey, Robin, I feel like I'm air traffic controlling. Hey, Robin, can you hear us? Yeah. He can't hear us. He can see us, but he can't hear us. All right, Ish, go for it.
Talking about kids? Well, say that again. We're breaking up a little bit.
We were talking about why this is important for kids and what you're doing.
Oh my God. Well, just the way the world is, there's a lot of separation of, people hating and this and that and just distractions. And the beautiful part about music, it's universal. Not only universal, but it gives you something to do, something that you can do all your life, and something that you can just sit back. Like I'm at Starbucks listening to music. I can totally appreciate this jazz because I got education of what musicality is and all the beautiful things that come with it. Plus teamwork. You learn to work with other people. A band is a group of people. It's not just one person. So you learn a lot of social skills. Like I said, the best thing that I like about what we're doing is, we're helping kids get off the street and do something that's beneficial to them and everybody that's going to enrich their family. Is that they can hand their horn or their drums down to their kid and say, you know what, it's your turn. So it has a lot of beauty with it. A lot of us don't do it for the money, but I'm sure Franklin's he's doing all right. But we do it just because we enjoy it, and then we love to see people smile. Everybody here's got smiles. Robin, I know he's got one there. There it is, and it's just enriching kids' lives. And I love what BAC is doing, matching dollar for dollar, whatever they're paying in rent. Because you have a horn for a couple of months, you get pretty good at it. You get some notes out. Parents just go ahead and buy it. And we take 50% off what they owe, and they get the rent to own. But that band or that high school gets dollar for dollar match to get to use it to buy another instrument to hand it to another kid. Every kid we get off the street playing a horn is off the street doing good for themselves. There he is. Bravo. Bravissimo.
Yeah.
Brian, you're on mute. Brian, you're muted.
Hey, Robin, did we have you back?
Okay.
Robin?
I can hear every once in a while, if there's a delay a little bit, I can hear a few words, and that's about it.
I can hear you again.
And, I'm sorry. I wish it were better. The connection on my phone's great. I don't know why it's not working the way that it normally would. Anyhow,
we can hear you good.
Prompt do you have for, you can hear me good. Okay, what prompt do you have for me?
I wanted you to talk about how RamPad came about.
I'm sorry, you might have to write it. If you write it, I can probably do it. I mean, I did a year and a half of this online stuff after COVID teaching, and not always easy. But RamPad came about. You want me to explain how RamPad came about? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking that's what it is. Paul Smighton, who marched in the Velvet Knights along with Steve Smith. There was a bunch of guys in the line who had come up with a practice pad back in the 1980s. I really need to shout out to Steve Smith on this one, because he might, like me, probably had some shop classes, and he had turned a bass on a lathe, put a Remo head on it on a hoop, had done some kind of tension rods that weren't real tension rods. And I actually used this thing in college in my percussion class. And the professor was very interested in it, and I didn't think too much of it at the time. But later on, they, after I had, they recognized I was good with the tools. I had an engineering kind of understanding, and they came to me and said, hey, what can we do with this thing? Can we maybe do it in mass production? And my first thought was like, well, yeah, let me look at it. We definitely can't use a wood base. That's not going to work because it's going to warp. It's wet. It's just too many.
Hey, Rebel, let's show that RamPad again.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's very interesting. He's done a lot of things to this to improve the sound, the quality, and everything on that. And I like it. And he's got different types. And then the June drum course show that we're at, that's where I met him outside. And he had all these kids here just hanging on a bed.
Can you guys hear me? So basically it was 15 years ago, I came up with the version that we've got now, which is an injection molded bass, which replaces the wood bass. And I wanted to make it as much as possible out of like standard parts, like an old Volkswagen would have standard stuff. And, standard head, standard hoop, standard tension rods. To replace stuff, they could replace stuff very, very easily by just either stuff they've got left over around the house, or could go down and do a music store and get it. And, secret sauce underneath it is what kind of gives it its nice rebound, but the bass holds it all together. So instead of a practice pad, I want people to kind of think of this more as it's a muted drum, because it is just all the standard parts. And the people that I've come across in the past, Gio Yama.
It's spinning again. So, Franklin, until he comes back, because he may come back talking again, talk about what you practice. How do you warm up?
Ooh. You want the long answer or the short answer?
We'll take the long. Go ahead. Go for it.
All right. Well, I do at times warm up my muscles and, perhaps get my hands ready to do what I need to do before drumming. At times I do that, but most of the time I don't warm up. Because for me, before I walk out on stage, it's more about mindset before anything else. You follow me? Hello?
Yep.
Yeah. For me, it's more about mindset before I do anything, before I even walk out on stage. Like, I make sure my mind, body, and soul is in the right place before I deliver what I need to deliver. Because, like, everything that's inside comes out, and it's your brain that tells your body what to do. And it's like walking out on stage, I naturally get this adrenaline that makes me happy to do my job and to do what I love more than anything, you know. So like I do have some exercises that I use when I play drums, but most of the time I don't warm up. I just make sure I'm in a happy place inside. When I used to work for Chaka Khan, short story. When I used to work for Chaka Khan, one day I walked in her dressing room because, you know, like we were very close. I walked in her dressing room and I asked her, I said, hey, Chaka, why is it that you don't warm up or do vocal exercises before a show? So she looks at me and she lights a cigarette. And she's batting her eyes at me, her big pretty eyes, and she's looking at me and she said, well, it's the same reason why you don't warm up before a show. I said, interesting, why? She said, well, when God gives you a natural talent, you don't have to think about what you're doing. You just deliver it. When it's in you, you give it. When it's in you and not on you, you have no choice but to deliver what's inside of you. So it's not about warming up. It's more of a spiritual delivery. Because if your mind's in the right place, your body's going to do what it tells it to do. Because it's all about how you feel on the inside. Yes, there's a physical aspect of it. Because like I exercise, you know, in the gym a lot, you know, I make sure my cardiovascular system is up to par because I like playing long shows and I'm used to playing long shows. But like once I'm in the zone, I don't think about what I'm playing. I'm just delivering it. So for that reason, most of the time I don't warm up. I just deliver and make sure I'm happy delivering.
And that makes sense to me. I get that. Ishi, we gonna say something?
You know, I do a lot of positive imagery with the high school bands I teach, and what place do you think of that puts you in your happy zone?
What?
A place, like a place, like an island, the beach. What place do you think of that just puts you in the happy place?
Several different things, you know. First of all, I always do my best to remain in a place of gratitude. And if you keep your energy in a place of gratitude, everything else follows. As far as imagery is concerned, I do like warm places. I like warm environments. I like the Bahamas, you know. I like certain people in my life that gives me positive energy. I like good food. I like good wine. I like good tequila. I like good movies. And I'm a person that really enjoys the environment. Like I like to feed off of everything that's going on around me. So if I like my current surroundings, that alone makes me happy. It doesn't take me much to be happy because like energetically, if you're happy, everything else follows. You're able to deliver. You're able to do whatever. You're able to execute. It's all about where your mind and your spirit is located. You know?
Nice.
Yeah. And Terry, tell them who you are.
Hi, Terry Marie. I've been with Brian for over 10 years. I'm here in Sherman Oaks, and sorry I was joining a little bit late. I had some other prior stuff for my day job. I have to finish it before I got on today, but nice to meet everybody.
Hi, Terry.
And I was just going to go back to Robin.
Robin, yeah, it starts noting.
And he keeps spinning. Well, we're in a pre-retrograde, so I get it. Hey, so talk about repairing instruments on behalf of Michael.
Oh, this is a great thing. Yeah, we have BAC is called stands for Best American Craftsman, and they have the best American craftsmen there. They not only make the instruments, like Trombone Shorty, they made his horn, you know, and he does a lot of stuff to go hang out in Louisiana. So you know what? Today, you have a busted instrument, bring it to me, I'll fix it for free. And the one thing about this rental program, this virtual band booster, if the instrument gets damaged or whatever, you just go to the website, a free label to go ahead and ship it to us. And actually, Mike is one of the people, as well as the other masters, will affix it in one day and ship it right back. We don't want people to be without their instruments because it's like being without your blanket. You know, you need that security, and that's the level of service BAC is delivering, especially to the remote areas like Louisiana, where I got the 3 bands today, and they're just so gracious. And I love what Franklin said about, you know, you got to be in a place of gratefulness, and because it comes out. And everybody that works on our team, we're all musicians, and we all been through the ups and downs. But we know in the end, that beauty of music is worth any challenge to overcome. And when you bring that vibe with you and spread it out, you know, I think we're just doing great work for the world.
I'll do some push-ups before a show. That's a warm-up, you know.
Uh-oh.
All right, Franklin, talk about that. Hey, Rebel, go back to the one before this because I like that. The one after that one. Talk about that one.
Okay. Very good story behind that. That was taken at the Yale Club, as a matter of fact. That was last year, as a matter of fact. I didn't attend Yale University, but I have a lot of friends and some alumni that went to Yale, and often Yale University invites me there. And I think partly it has a lot to do with my last name. I've been to the Yale Club quite a few times, and I'm friends with the staff over there. My advisor's doctor is also Yale's alumni. The last time I was there, I stayed at the hotel that they have there because I was in New York for some business meetings. And I also lived in New York for 4 years prior to that. So yeah, I was there for business meetings. And every time I go in, half of the time I stay at the Yale Club.
See, and that's a great thing. So, oh yeah, look at that one. These are, man, you got so many great looks for all the stuff that you're doing. Talk about that one. Where was that one at?
We were on tour.
There's got to be a story about that one.
Brian, I don't know where this is going, but I'll answer it. But, yes, we were on tour. I was working with Lenny Kravitz on that tour.
Oh.
And those wonderful young ladies were the backing vocals, which I happen to be close with all of them. They're awesome, awesome singers, awesome human beings. And that was a photo that was taken right after sound check.
Oh, I see. I really love. Yeah, I really like this one too. Talk about your kit also.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah.
There's more. Which drum set? Which one? That one? Well, that photo with the wonderful ladies there. This was on set with a sitcom that I'm a part of that's not out yet. I had the opportunity to work with Rick Springfield. There's a sitcom that's in the can right now that's waiting to get picked up by a network. It's a sitcom called It's a Lot. And I'm the drummer in Rick Springfield's band in the sitcom, and I will have a recurring role. So it's not out yet, but it's coming out. The sitcom is about a guy that's a cool rock star dad that happens to have a son that's a car salesman, and I guess, you know, he had some hard times in his life, and he ended up moving back in his dad's house, which happened to be this super cool guy. And his dad's a rock star. His son's kind of a regular guy. The dad, his name is Max, which is Rick Springfield.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not out yet, but at some point it's going to come out. And so I happen to be in the band, and I have.
Well, wait a minute. How did you get that?
Barry Katz is a friend of mine. He introduced me to Rick Springfield, and the rest is history.
Wow, relationships, right? Everything's built on that.
Yeah.
All right, Rebel, surprise me with video. Oh, Ish, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna ask Franklin. I'm just, when Brian told me about the show and you were gonna be on it, I just, you know what? I just gotta ask. Do you guys, when you're out with Lenny Kravitz, what's a day like with him? Do you have long rehearsals, short rehearsal sets? What's it like? Tell us what it's like. I'm always curious.
Okay, well, just so you know, me and Lenny Kravitz, we parted ways this year, January of 2024. You know, well, I worked with him for like 15 years. What is it like before a show, preparing for a show? Rehearsals, yes, they're definitely long, but me, when I used to play with him, it never took me long to learn his music, because for me, his music is not difficult. What it was about the characteristics in the way he plays his music. And it's all about how he put it together, because you had to adapt to a certain character with his music. So I just played the music in between. I do my best to have fun and just be in a happy place. The rehearsals were long, but we also have moments where, we're doing something cool. It could be anything, like every day was different, and like I said, it doesn't take a lot to make me happy. I always found my moments to do other activities and things like that. And when it was time to rehearse, we rehearsed. And when we weren't rehearsing, I'll go for a swim, because a lot of times we would rehearse in Bahamas or in Paris or Brazil. And if we had a break, I'll go have a nice dinner and come back and we'll continue on. So it was many different things I would get myself into before we rehearsed.
See, I like that. All right, Rebel, what do we got video-wise? I'm going to be surprised.
Hi, my name is Mike Carrigan with BAC Musical Instruments in Kansas City, and I'm here to tell you about the exciting and new 825 series marching snare drum. The first noticeable thing to talk about is the removal of the snare throw-off. This is unnecessary hardware that's not utilized in the literature today. It saves a lot of weight for the musician, highlighting health and wellness of the 825 snare. The second feature we're going to talk about is the fine-tuned snare guts. This gives the staff and the musicians an opportunity to really enhance and optimize each individual snare drum, but also optimize the sound of the full drum line. The last feature we're going to talk about is the reintroduction of the wooden bearing edge. Over the years, drum companies have evolved into metal or synthetic bearing edges. The problem for that is it's very hard on the wrist and promotes things like carpal tunnel and tendonitis. A wooden bearing edge feels so much better for the musician and sounds absolutely incredible. 825 marching snare drum. Precision, power, performance, redefined.
Cool.
I like it.
Yeah, all right. That's a happy place.
Yeah.
How does he do that?
So Rob Robertson, he was been on our show once or twice. He's a jazz drummer now, but he marched with Blue Devils in 1981, but his family founded the Crossmen. So he played in the 50th anniversary of the Crossmen Drum and Bugle Corps this year in Indiana at the finals. But he was also an international, in the snare drum champion for Crossmen. So he was going to be on. So he gives his regards to everybody on that. So I wanted to show that and honor him because we have a bunch of drum corps people watching. So
that was awesome. Hello to the drum corps community. Much love and respect to all of you.
Yeah. Hey, Ish, talk about why you give your jacket away to one special kid each summer.
It's a beautiful thing. The Blue Devils are an icon of drum corps. As every corps has its own identity. Ours is known for the jazz. So here we have like the jazz stitching in there. But back when I marched, back in the day, we were able to have jackets with a lot of artwork and contemporary artwork. So it was a beautiful thing. But nowadays, they only have writing in the back. So one of the kids saw my jacket, says, "Oh my God, that is so cool!" And I thought, you know what? It doesn't do me any good with this jacket being in the closet, pulling it out 1 week in a year to go watch shows. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give it to a member in the group and say, you know what? I want you to know that we're a family now. You don't know me. I don't know you, but this is like my prized possession. I'm going to give it to you. Take care of it. Take me on the road. If I see it finals, give it back to me. If I don't, ship it back to me. And at the next Southern California show, I get it to somebody else. It's a way for me to give back. And the beautiful part about it is, look at this artwork. There, not see it. Look at the artwork.
It's awesome.
So it's a really cool jacket to give out, and it's their history. And they get to wear it. And one of the things you learn in being a musician is you learn a lot of honor. Don't steal. You treat your fellow brother good. And I'm telling you, everyone says, aren't you afraid that someone's going to keep it and never give it back? Like, absolutely not. Too many of us worldwide know each other. You don't want to be that guy. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to give back. This beauty of the artwork that some gentleman designed years ago, and I love it. And to be able to give it to someone and get it back, and everybody year after year gets to take it on the road. It's a great honor, and I think that's the beauty that Franklin's talking about. When he plays, people are hearing him play. It's just like, wow, it's just a gift that we just give, and I think that's what it's about, giving.
But see, you know what? That's the drummer's code. When it comes to your drum corps camaraderie,
right?
I think all of us drummers are the same. Like we all commingle together like that. We all have this unspoken mutual respect for each other. No matter if you're the drummer that plays at Bob's Pub or you're playing at Madison Square Garden, we all respect each other. It's like a code that drummers have. It's like a mutual respect from the drum corps to the jazz musician to the rock musician to any type of drummer in any genre. We all speak and respect each other.
And with that, Franklin, give your social media links for everybody to reach out and follow you.
My social media is Franklin Vanderbilt official. Just type in Franklin Vanderbilt and I'll pop up on Instagram. The same as Facebook, the same as Twitter. And I will respond to you on Instagram if you follow there. So yeah, Franklin Vanderbilt.
Go ahead.
Mine's an email. It is Ismael, Ismael at bacmusic.com. Real simple. You'll also find me there and for rentals, purchases, and drums. So give me a call, get you some information, definitely get you some quotes, and let's spread the music around the world.
Terry?
You can all find me at Nonstop Terry Marie, where I've got my hosting that I do on celebrity red carpets, some of my fitness stuff, and there'll be some more fun surprises out there. But yeah, Nonstop Terry Marie on all platforms.
And so that everybody knows, she has over 4 million views and counting, being with us in 10 years. And she always never mentions that, so I have to mention it for her because that's important. So, it's never easy putting these shows together wherever people may be, especially for the first timers. But you know what? I have to say this. I got to thank everybody from coming on because it's never easy, but we made it work some kind of strange way. And I say this to everybody. Have a good night tonight. Have a better day tomorrow. You see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.
Bye.